Hey! I had to cancel last week, didn't I? But back as normal this week. I'm going to tell you about the robbery last week because I've got something pretty extraordinary to share with you on that topic. And you know what I'm like, I share warts and all, the things that are going well, not so well, and this robbery is relevant. So those of you that follow me on the regular will know that I'm here every Monday night, like clockwork, with Soul Centred Millionaire TV. This is episode 30 something, giving you a mixture of no bullshit, straight talking business advice mixed with a little bit of magic, sprinkle of magic as I call it, you know, that's more of a spiritual aspect of building a business, about alignment and, you know, taking action in line with our intuition and who we really are. Last week I wasn't here because we had a bit of a shock, and I'm going to tell you about that because there is something in it that's really relevant for anybody listening. It's a bit woo-woo, it's a bit out there, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear everything first of all and tell me who's there by saying hey. I'm not seeing any comments again. Facebook business page, let me know actually, you guys, because I can see already that there's comments on here. I'm looking down on my iPad, so I'm having to use a different device to see your comments. It's so annoying. Is it just me? I'd love to know if it's just me, because I don't know if anybody else has been having the same problem, but I can never see comments on the business page when I'm live. I can see them on my personal profile, but not here. I can see them in my group, but not here. Who else is having the same problem? Just let me know by writing a comment. I've got you up on here as well. So see, so if you see me looking down, I'm not being really rude. I'm doing it on purpose so that I can see you guys interacting. So give me some hearts. First of all, let me see if I can actually see the interaction on this device, because it's looking like I can't frickin' see you on here now. Okay, never mind. What I want to share with you first of all before we jump into tonight's training is just a huge lesson for me off the back of last week. So a week today we got back from Milan. We had been there just for 3 nights. It was a shopping trip. James has always wanted to visit Milan. It's not, cities aren't really my thing, but we'd had a city break a couple of weeks before and I really enjoyed it. I was like, stuff it, we'll go to Milan. Maybe I like cities after all. We got back on Monday afternoon, late afternoon, to find our house trashed, robbed, burgled. Such a shock. We walked in and it was just upside down. You know, everything had been pulled out of cupboards, every drawer, every cupboard had been gone through. All of our personal belongings, all of our stuff, you know, it just feels like such a violation. And I cancelled last week's live because of it. I'm going to share with you today exactly what I was going to share with you last week so you guys won't miss out. But first I want to share the lesson, the quite spooky lesson in the burglary. One of the things that I work tirelessly on is my relationship with money, because it's so relevant in the pursuit of financial success. You know, how we think about money, how we feel about money definitely plays a significant part in how much we are able to accumulate with ease. And I've gone from, as many of you will know from listening to my stories previously, I've gone from pretty broke and worrying about how I'm going to just cover my bills to millionaire lifestyle and business in quite a short space of time, just a few years. And that has meant not just working on business strategy, you know, the how-to steps, it's also meant working on this, how I think about money, how I feel about money. Because everything we do determines, everything that shows up is determined by that energetic connection that we have to money, and I believe that. When my relationship with money was poor, when I feared it running out, when I hated it, when I resented it for not showing up enough for me, I never had enough of it. When I got really serious about falling in love with it and everything about it, and getting smart and savvy when it comes to my finances and knowing where my money goes and looking after it. When I did all of these things and took it really seriously, more and more started showing up, and that's not a coincidence. So one of the things that I do as a way of life now is budget. I have budgets for everything and allocate certain percentages every month to certain things. So business expenses, investment in me, luxuries, things, treats, you know. And James and I have done this now for years. Because where focus goes, energy flows. What we focus on, we get more of. If we want to grow our wealth, then we need to focus in on growing our wealth. And part of loving money for me is about knowing where it goes and being really clear that I only part with it for something that I absolutely love. You know, ironically, when I had less money, I used to buy more stuff that I didn't really need. It would seep out energetically because unconsciously I wasn't aligned with having a lot of it. Therefore, I always saw it disappear. And I made a commitment a long time ago now to, when I'm looking at something, when I'm about to buy something, to ask myself, do I absolutely adore it? Do I love it? Will it make me feel abundant? Will it light me up? Will I feel good about making this purchase and exchanging it for money that I love so much? You know, because when you love something so much, it's going to take something that you love even more to see you part with it. And that's the way I look at these things. So what's really interesting, and why I'm telling you this, is because one of my first thoughts when I walked into my house and saw that we'd been robbed and that someone had been in and taken from me, one of my first thoughts is, I'm not going to lie, it was, what did I do wrong? How did I align myself energetically and put myself in a place where I lost something, where I experienced lack of? Because it's totally true that what you think about, you bring about. We can't only take responsibility for the things that are going well in our life. We've got to fucking own the things that show up that we don't like as well. So immediately my brain kicked into, how did I create this? Because I created this. We create everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I created this. There's a few really important lessons. One is that I'd thought about burglary a lot recently. I'd made it my reality. I brought it into my existence because somebody shared with me there'd been some burglaries in the area. A neighbour, just in passing comment, shared that with me. And I found myself fearing it. I found myself worrying about it. It doesn't mean that what we worry about is going to show up. So I don't want that to scare anybody. It doesn't mean that at all. But if we constantly and consciously give something energy, we call it into existence. Fact. So those thoughts that I'd been having, those fears that I'd been having, the steps that I'd then taken were all out of fear. And this is the thing, it's not about not safeguarding yourself. It's not about not locking the doors and windows and going, I won't get burgled. It's like stepping out into the garden saying there are no weeds, as Tony Robbins says, when there's weeds everywhere. That's not realistic. But it's about doing it from a different place, locking the door with love for my possessions inside, putting extra security measures in place because I adore my home, coming at it from a place of love and gratitude, not, oh my God, I'm going to be robbed, so I'm frightened. And that's the energy I've been sending out there. Inevitably, that's what happened. However, what's really interesting is what they took. That's what's interesting. There'd been a few purchases that I'd made leading up to the robbery that were not really in alignment with my way of being when it comes to parting with money. I'd let some standards slip. I'd got a bit complacent. I'd allowed myself to part with money for things that I didn't love because I felt so abundant that I'd started to let some of my disciplines and routines slip. Who can relate to this? You know, who can relate to putting things in place that we know are going to work and then letting them slip even though we know that they're good for us? It's like self-sabotage. I'd made some purchases. I'm going to give you an example. There was a necklace, a Thomas Sabotage necklace. I'd got my monthly budget for luxuries and I hadn't spent it, and it was like the last day of the month. So I went out shopping thinking, oh, I'll go and buy myself something nice. I came across this necklace. I bought one with all these charms on that I didn't need all of those charms. If I'm honest, I didn't love all of them. Some of them were to just fill the necklace. And I was spending the budget because I hadn't spent it yet, not because I needed it, loved it. And I remember instantly feeling buyer's remorse when I walked away. I remember thinking, oh, I shouldn't really have bought that. Do you love this, do you? And every time I looked down at it, there was a pang of like, it was a bit of a shit purchase. We all know the purchases, right? And this was one of them. And no one ever complimented me on this necklace. Like, no one ever said, oh, I like your necklace. And it wasn't that the necklace was bad, it was just probably the way I felt about it. And I didn't wear it that often. And then I looked at it and I thought, you know what, there's one charm on it, which is a parrot, and I absolutely love that one charm. The rest I probably don't. So I took the others off and I just wore it as a necklace with one charm. And suddenly, you know, I loved it. Every time I looked down, I thought, yeah, I really, really love it. I put all the other charms away. And they were very expensive, and I remember feeling really guilty when I put them in my jewellery box, like, oh. So there was that. There was some sunglasses I'd bought a few months earlier that I didn't love, and they hurt my head, so I ended up leaving them in my top drawer. There was a purse and a bag. Now this is really interesting. I bought a purse and a bag that I didn't love because I deprived myself of what I really wanted. So what I really wanted was like a Gucci handbag. But there was a part of the old me still in there going, Gucci, who do you think you are? So I went and bought a Ted Baker one that was like a fraction of the price, and a Ted Baker purse to match. And although I was grateful, I didn't look at it and think, oh, you know, it didn't light me up. I knew that I'd played small a little bit and I didn't love it, and therefore I didn't even bother taking it everywhere with me. I'd just put my phone and my purse in my pocket instead and go out without my bag most of the time. And there's a few purchases like this that had come up over the last few months, and they took all of that stuff. They took all the necklace, the charms and everything. I'd got the one that I loved on. I'd got the jewellery that I love on. They took everything that I didn't love. They took the sunglasses. They took the Ted Baker purse and the handbag, but left the purse next to it, the Karl Lagerfeld purse, which is equally as expensive and beautiful, but they left that. There was things that had no, when we look at it now, it actually was pretty crazy that it was all the stuff that I'd had negative thoughts on that I didn't love that just disappeared. And everything that I love and cherish and are grateful for every time I see it that make me feel good, I got to keep. So my message is, how we feel counts more than you know. It's so spooky how this has panned out. And I'm not going to lie, I've had a really rough week. I've felt a bit unsafe in my own home. I felt a bit anxious in my own home. I've not been sleeping right through fear of them coming back. I've been frantically putting so many more security measures in place that we've never had before. My house is like a fucking fortress. I've got a police dog on the way. We're getting a police dog that we're buying from the UK that's going to be a guard dog with alarm systems, all sorts of stuff going on because I never want it to happen again. But I'm not doing it from a place of fear. I'm doing it from a place of love for my home, love for the things that I have, and coming at it from a totally different way than I was when I was attracting the stuff that I attracted. And I wanted to share that with you because I just think there's so many lessons in there. There's so many lessons in there for me, therefore there's going to be so many lessons in there for you. And the key ones for me was, it's okay to focus on what we don't want to happen, but in a way that aligns with good emotions. Like, it's okay to think, oh, I don't want my money to disappear, therefore I love money and I'm going to look after it, rather than, oh my God, don't disappear, and getting into a state of scarcity and fear. It's good to look after your money and show your money how much you love it by not making ridiculous purchases. If we don't appreciate what we've got, it goes. Somehow it leaves. So it's really important to be grateful for what we've got and only spend money on the things that we love. And they were the things that were massive points of realisation for me. I'm so grateful for the robbery because it taught me so much, and it made me even more grateful and switched on to this stuff than I thought I was. I'd relaxed some of my disciplines, and that's not okay. So it's helped me pull all those things back in now. I'm going to share 3 very quick things with you now, 3 very quick tips about building an online business, because it's that time of year where people are starting to think, what do I want next year to be like? How do I want it to be different? What do I want to create? And I work with 2 types of people. I work with people that already have businesses that want to scale them and leverage them and get them to the next level and don't quite know how and need help doing it. But I also work with people that are starting out from scratch. And this is what I want to focus on tonight. If you're someone that recognises that you want to be making profit online from the things that you know, from the things that are already up here, but you don't know where to start with that, this one tonight is for you. Because I want you to go into 2020 with more belief than you've ever had that it's possible for you, and more clarity on what to do to make it happen. And these 3 things are going to help you to do that, because it's never been easier. You'll have heard me say this before. It's never been easier to get paid for what you know, because the vehicle that is social media, the vehicle that is the internet, has made it possible for anybody to monetize the things they know. I call it profitable problem solving. We can all solve somebody else's problem. Everybody can. Everybody. You know, the burglary is a really good example of this. I've had a problem, I've had different problems that I need solving all week. And where have I turned to get the answers to these things? Here. This is an iPad, by the way. Online. That's where I've turned. That's what I've been looking at to get the answers to my problems. Every single person listening to this tonight, you can help solve someone's problem. I was reading a book recently that inspired this live, actually. And the guy in it said him and his mate they were messing about building a potato gun. Boys will be boys. And they were Googling and YouTubing all the things that they needed to get together to make this potato gun. And there was hardly any information out there. So they spent ages, hours piecing together what equipment they needed, how much of it, where to buy it from, how to put the equipment together to make this potato gun. Once they'd done it, they were experts in potato gun. Expert being someone that knows a lot more than the average person about a topic. Really, that's an expert, right? Some people feel really uncomfortable calling themselves an expert, and I get that, but the reality is we're all an expert of something, because we all know more than average about certain topic areas that we've had some experience in. And now this guy sat there feeling like an expert in potato guns, because he's done all this research, spent all this time learning, all this time getting it wrong, doing it again, and he's come out with a pretty awesome potato gun with his mate. So he starts putting together little mini courses on how to build potato guns, and he sells them for like 30 quid, and before you know it, he's making about a couple of $100 a day. These courses are selling online, because when people like him are searching for this stuff and it's all in one place and easy and step by step, they want it just like he wanted it. And that was his first realisation that, holy shit, it's never been easier to sell information. And that's what I want to share with you tonight, the 3 steps to selling information for a living online. Because I've created $1 million business doing it. I've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people to create success doing this. And I know for certain that it's possible for you too, but there's 3 things that you're going to have to start considering if you're going to make a real success of this. The first thing is, you got to just admit that you know stuff. Just drop the bullshit that you don't know anything that's valuable, because you absolutely do. I don't care who you are, where you're from, how much you don't think you know, or how much you think everybody else knows what you think. You're wrong. You 1,000% have information stored up here that is valuable to someone else. 1,000%. I always think of one of my clients. I shared her story the other day, actually, and there's loads of examples of this, but this is just one. Her name's Charlotte, and you might have seen me writing about her on social media recently. But Charlotte's a really good example of this, because I can remember the first time we spoke, she reached out to me and she said, can we talk? I'd really like to start an online business. I'm not quite sure how to start, and I don't think I know anything that's of value, but I want to chat. And in that first conversation, I just said to her, like, tell me your story. What made you want to be an entrepreneur? Where did it all start? And she said, well, it started with an app, really. I just had this idea, and there wasn't, because I was searching for something that I needed at the time, and I wanted an app that provided me with that information. I think it was hypnobirthing, if I remember right, and there wasn't one. So I just thought, maybe I should create one then, because there can't be, I can't be the only person that wants to know more about this and would value an app that helped me with X, Y, Z. So I created it, and I'm quite tech minded. I've got a tech background, so it wasn't difficult, and it cost me a couple of £100 to create, and that was it. I had an app, and it just gave me a taste of, being a business owner and making my own money, and I liked it. And I was like, right, tell me more about this app, and what's it giving you? She's like, not much. Like, it only brings in a few hundred a month. Like, it's nothing to write home about. I said, and how much did it cost you to make it? She was like, I think it's about £300. So it cost you £300 to make, and how much have you made off it total? She's like, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that total. So we started adding it up. She's like, fucking hell, I made about 50 grand. So you made 50 grand from £300 with an app idea. She's like, yeah. I was like, and you don't think you've got anything to teach someone? And she now builds a really successful business teaching people how to create profitable apps. That's just one example of many. I've worked with people that are just particularly good at organising or planning their time, and they think it's normal because everybody does it. And this is the thing about the thing that you can help people with. It comes naturally to you normally. It's the most natural thing that you do. It's like breathing. It's like brushing your teeth. That's why you don't think it's worth anything, but it is, because it doesn't come that naturally to somebody else. And the other common thing is, oh, but you could YouTube that. Well, yeah, but people don't always want to just spend hours and hours researching and piecing together information. They want the easy route. We're more impatient now as a society than we've ever been. Everything's now. You know, just look at everything that we do now for convenience. I mean, Amazon are delivering in the UK now with drones on the same day because we're so fucking impatient. We want things today. We want things yesterday. So the information age is booming. Selling information, selling what we know, helping people solve problems is booming because we've never been more impatient and it's never been more accessible to get information. It's never been easier for you to put information in front of people that people want and make a profit doing it. But you've just got to just agree with me that you have something useful and that you know stuff that could be useful to someone else, and stop telling yourself you don't and start asking yourself, what is it? What things do I know that could be useful? What experience have I had? What challenges have I faced that I've come through that somebody else might not be through yet? And you've only got to be a little bit further ahead, which leads me to point 2. You've got to stop saying, I'm not there yet. I'm not a certified coach. Here's what I hear a lot. I can't help people. I'm not a certified coach. I need to go and spend thousands first becoming certified and hours of studying and learning. Why? Why have you got to be certified to help somebody in something that you know? Who has placed that limitation on you at some point? Because it's bullshit. One of my favourite people in business is the guy called Tony Robbins. Type in the chat box if you've heard of Tony Robbins and you love him as much as I do. Because to me, there's no denying he's an exceptional businessman. He's a tycoon of a businessman. He's hugely successful in every area of his life, but he makes a difference in the world, and that's what I love about him. He's found a way to make a big difference, a big impact, and live an extraordinary life in the process and have everything that he wants to. He talks a lot of sense. I admire his work. Here's the thing, most people do. I happen to know that his one-to-one coaching is $1 million for the year. And he has a 7-year waiting list for it. So it's fair to say he's in demand. He went to train in something called NLP when he decided he wanted to be a coach. Neuro-linguistic program. It's a really popular thing to train in for coaches. So he went along to this workshop to become certified in NLP to help him become a better coach. And he loved it. It opened his eyes. On day 1, he was like, oh my God, this is going to help so many people. He got it. He was a natural at it. So that evening, he was in the bar of the hotel helping people. Saying, I can help you with that. Let me show you what I learned. And helping people break through habits like quitting smoking and stuff, using what he'd learned that day. He just loved it and he wanted to practice it. He got how life-changing it could be. The next day when he got into the course, he was called in and told off because he shouldn't be practicing until he's certified, and they threw him out of the course. So he never got that certification, and still to this day isn't certified. In fact, he created his own certification program. He created his own way of working based on his own experience, called it strategic intervention. And now you can pay to be certified in his practices. Great people aren't great because of certification. Great people aren't great because someone's written on a piece of paper to say they are. Great people are great because they live by experience and they share it with people. And you've only got to be one step ahead. You've only got to be one step ahead. One of my favourite books at the moment is a book called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And he's the guy that created ClickFunnels. So one of the vehicles that most of us digital entrepreneurs use to automate our sales. And again, somebody that I really admire in terms of his achievements. And there's a part in his book that always makes me smile because it says, if you've ever saw the film Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, he plays a con artist anyway, and he plays lots of different roles, and none of them is he actually qualified to do. So he's a pilot, and then he's an accountant, and then he's a lawyer, and in one part of the film he's a lecturer at a university, and he teaches a whole semester on a topic that he's not actually trained to teach. And when the police actually catch up with him, they say, I've just got to ask you, like, how did you pull that off? How did you stand at the front of a class and teach a whole semester of a topic, of a subject that you weren't qualified to teach? And he said, well, I only had to be a chapter ahead in the books than the students to be able to teach them. And that's the point. Like, there is stuff that you know where you are further along in your journey, so you can have the ability to turn around and hold someone's hand and say, I know the way, follow me, without feeling like you've got to be at the destination, the end point. You don't have to be at the end point. Are we ever done? We're lifelong learners. We're always evolving, we're always learning, we're always coming better, and we're always increasing our value. Tony Robbins didn't start out charging $1 million a year on day one, but he's increased his value by constantly working on himself. But you don't have to be great to start. You do have to start to be great though. So you can't keep telling yourself you're not there yet, you can't add value yet. Yes, you are, and yes, you can. And the third thing is learn how to BMS. Brand, market, sell. That's where your focus needs to go. If you're putting your focus into being better at offering a service in order to be more successful, you're missing the point. You are already enough. You can already serve, you can already help, you can already add value, you can already contribute to somebody else's life, and you deserve to be paid for that. Putting time and effort into becoming better at that, feeling more ready, feeling more educated, reading more books, isn't going to help you to be successful in 2020. What's going to help you to be successful in 2020 is to admit that you know some shit, stop waiting to be ready, and learn how to brand, market and sell, because that's what's going to make the difference. That's what's going to get your experience levels increased and your value increased. Because if you can brand yourself and market and sell to the type of person that you provide a solution to a problem for and get noticed by them, then you can work with them. And if you can work with them providing a service or information and helping them solve their problem, then you gain more experience. Because that's when the thing that you do becomes proven, it becomes tested. You get testimonials and people saying, yeah, I did that and it was awesome. It helped me in this way, this way, this way. You become more experienced because you get that real life experience working with people. When I started out as a business coach, I worked one-to-one only in the beginning. I just spent time working with a handful of women on a one-to-one basis to test what I thought I knew and how I thought I could help people, and take them through that journey and listen to their breakthroughs and see how it helped them. That then became the framework for my key signature mentorship program, because now it was proven, it was tested, there was results there was people saying thank you, oh my god, I couldn't have done it without you, and your confidence increases. But you've got to start somewhere. So I want you to commit with me today that you're going to start in 2020. You're going to bin the excuses, you're going to stop saying I'll do it when, you're going to stop saying I'll be ready when I've done this, and you're just going to admit that you know some stuff. Stop waiting, learn how to brand, market and sell, because that's all you need to do. And here's the thing, I know that for some of you, you've been trying to do this for a long time already and you're not there yet, and that makes you feel like a failure, but you're not. You are exactly like all the other people that want to do something and don't. We talk ourselves out of it. That's normal. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. We all do that. The difference is you just get better at talking yourself into it more than you talk yourself out of it, and start taking action. These thoughts aren't going to go. The imposter syndrome isn't going to leave. You're never going to suddenly go, I'm ready now. I feel ready. It doesn't happen. I guess I'm told it's a bit like having children. Like, you never really feel ready. You never really feel adult enough. You never really feel... But you do it and you make it happen because you have to. And building a business is like giving birth in the same way. It's going to fucking hurt. It is going to hurt, but you're strong enough to push through it. And what you get at the end of it is, oh my God, worth it. And I just want to leave you with that thought today. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a wonderful evening. And by the way, this is the end of Soul Centred Millionaire TV for 2019. I'll be back in 2020 in the first week of January. Have a wonderful Christmas, whatever you're doing. And I'll speak to you soon.